about the right time and think, did we go live? Yeah, we can do it. Say that again. So is it everything, all 32-bit things?
Now, is it just the STM32s, which are quite common in automotive and industrial automation uses, the F series? Are they the ones in short supply? I haven't even looked into it. But if they are, then it could affect a lot of RC model stuff as well, because they're the backbone of our transmitters and flight controllers and all sorts of things.
It's going to hit everything, because there's three distinct issues. You've got fab space, which is a major issue right now. The car industry stepped out of rotation about mid last year. And what I mean by that is they get they'd already had pre-booked space in the fab and turned it down because of the world was in the middle of the human malware mess. And then suddenly later on in the year, towards the end, they went, oh, can we now take up that fab space? And the companies went, well, no, the bus has gone. You'll have to wait for the next bus to come. But suddenly they've run out, and now VW, Ford, they all had to stop production. And TSMC and a couple of others have now committed to supplying for the automotive industry as a priority. You've got game consoles, but there's also a shortage of the substrate, which the dies go on to. So if you remember on CPU, the actual material, it's going to affect everything.
Come on, who needs all those toys? Get yourself an anvil and go and do some gardening. Come on, guys.
There's a lot of money in America about to enter people's hands, and I'm sure China would love to be stripping that money from people one way or another. However, it's potentially not going to happen. You can't. It's a weird position. You can't buy what you want right now. Even if you've got the money in your pocket, you just cannot get it. It's a crazy situation.
What if you've got Bitcoin?
If you've got Bitcoin, you're doing okay.
Oh, if Patrick's watching, what a wise decision to allow people to pay to enter our SUSB Expo in San Francisco 5 or 6 years ago in Bitcoin. And one person did 5 or 6 years ago. Thanks very much, Patrick.
How many?
And now
Only
everybody...
But
everyone that knows Gary is a billionaire now because that one Bitcoin.
That one Bitcoin.
No, it wasn't one. It's point whatever, isn't it? I never understand it. It's like it's not made for me. All these decimals.
I always miss these boats, unfortunately. And I did a quick calculator yesterday, and if you'd have put $100 in Bitcoin into Bitcoin in 2010, it's about 97 million right now.
Oh, hello. He's coming back. We can talk about it now. Is your voice working this time, Mark?
Windows updates are really good. That's all I can say.
That's why I run Linux.
Yeah.
Consider yourself lucky, because yesterday I was building a USB boot pen for Linux, and I managed to remove the boot sectors of the hard drives of my Windows machine.
I've done that on a Mac and lost everything. Okay. Now, what I thought you were going to say, Louis, is you removed all your Bitcoin codes. No, that's what I thought you were going to say.
No, he emailed them to me. That's why I'm so happy today. He emailed them on here by accident, but I hate to point out his mistakes, because I know how insecure he'd get about that, so I just haven't told him, Yeah, there's all of these guys were showing off their quads just before we started, and the only thing I do have in my hat here is a Linux distribution on a stick.
Look at you! Really need one of these.
I've got nothing to show here.
Oh yeah, this is only a 3.
You can run an operating system from this, and you want and it's faster.
Now that's what I want. What Nicola's got, and Sam's got the very when the ship comes in, I'll be out flying. Very true. Now I do fancy that, Nicola. Now, tell me exactly what that is.
It's a hilariously huge antenna on a very small plane.
It's a quick nose something.
It's very blunt nosed, isn't it? Have you flown that yet, Nicola?
Is that a Zod something?
Is it what?
Is it made by Zod?
Oh yeah, that's the Drift. You didn't recognize it?
No,
No,
no.
what you're supposed to do is I'm supposed to say, tell me what that is, Nicola, and then you're supposed to
That's
unpack it and tell me what it's
okay.
called.
Just in short, that's a 300-gram high altitude platform.
It's 300 grams. I thought they were under
Yeah.
250.
This is meant to go up and chase passenger aircraft and take them down. By somehow getting in the way of the flight path.
I thought, does none of those come in under 250 then? They're all over 250.
Well, some people are able to get it down to within 250. Frankly, I have no idea how that works. Actually, Zoch did claim that they were able to do it running a 2S 18650 battery in it. I have the same battery in there. The battery alone is 100 grams. I don't understand how that thing can get any lighter unless capacity is compromised. And even then, there's not much gain within that size. I actually bought slightly slimmer cells, 16650 cells, which fit a lot better and were like 15 grams lighter, but they were pathetic. Obviously that size has not seen the same amount of investment as the 18650s. Because they were pathetic. But the plane's pretty good. I assume if you use a small light 2S LiPo battery, smaller video transmitter, because right now I have a 1.2 watt one in this here plane. Yeah, it's not running at 1.2 watts right now, but it can go up to that. And I have probably the heaviest antenna I can find on the nose, because that's the only one I have.
1.2 watts, and that tiny thing. How long?
Yeah.
At what point does the foam melt? Or are you flying that high that you're just heating the rest of the system?
Actually, the thing has pretty good cooling, because it grabs air from the nose above and below the camera, and the video transmitter is mounted on the canopy, so a lot of that air that's getting grabbed over the camera is probably running through it. And besides, at 200 milliwatts, it stays cold no matter how long you run it. At 600 milliwatts, gets warm, but it's not crazy. I haven't put it up to 1.2 watts yet, but this came from... No, actually, I opened a brand new one. This wasn't mounted anywhere else, but I do like it. It's running pretty good.
It's craziness.
And the antenna's pretty good, actually.
I'm still looking for Philip's post over on LinkedIn. LinkedIn being the place in which you can annoy.
Now, is he being legit?
I want to ask something else before we move on to stuff that doesn't really interest me.
We're so
How
sorry.
do you feel, Nicola?
Yeah, I want to ask something, because I'm currently quite confused with all of that thing with all these processors coming out. So what exactly is the difference between the F765 and the H743?
Well, an F and an H.
765 and so the the SoCs. So the F76. F7
in relation to the Matic wing autopilots, because I have a pair of H743s coming, and I got them just because they're the latest. No idea why though.
Okay, so yeah, so the H7 is the H7 SoC. So it's just the faster version. You got the F7,
okay,
which is basically based off the original F4 architecture. It's very similar. It's just a bit faster and a bit more memory. That's the easiest way to say with the F4 to F7. Basically, it's faster. The H is quite a lot of changes. Think of it more going from a big step with Intel from, say, a dual core to a quad core. It's got more cores, but there's actually an architecture change in it as well. It's got a secure enclave in there for storing data in the background. It's faster.
Depends on the models.
It does depend, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a bigger architecture change within the H series, isn't there, Louis, than there is the F series?
So can we expect more amp draw during, idle on the ground, post startup before flight? Because I have seen that these controllers now draw a good deal of current, actually.
No,
well, it shouldn't.
Everything that is around the CPU, because the CPU is very energy efficient. So it really depends on.
Yeah, when plugged in a wall socket, probably compared to what, that must be in relation to what is it energy efficient to an i9.
I wouldn't expect that, if anything, I'd expect the H series to probably be better than the old 4. I haven't looked, but going back
Fair
that
enough.
far.
Because the only difference I was able to find between the Matek F765 wing and the Matek H743 wing is that the 743 had CAN bus capability on the flight controller.
I think it's important to remember with all flight controllers that the higher the number, the better the flight controller is. It's quite.
Well,
that's all
apparently
it is.
not
It's quite
the
easy.
case. Apparently
The
not
old
the
Pixel
case.
rule. The old Pixel rule. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's
Now
for the
I
most
have
part.
to wonder what CAN bus peripheral thing is it going to be able to run and when?
Servos. You can run
Everything.
servos if you're running Hydra Pilot. Run
Everything.
servos
You can run everything now these days from CAN bus.
with a node. You can.
Depends
Yeah.
if you want it.
Right. So
Yeah.
everything except the stuff that doesn't work on CAN bus,
No,
which
no,
is
everything.
99%
No,
of
no,
the
no, no, no,
hobby.
no. Sorry. You can run absolutely everything because there are even adapters for all the peripherals that run I2C or run serial, and you can put them on a CAN bus.
Right. So basically, the improvement is that now you need to buy more
New stuff
adapters to run the old stuff that
Yes,
runs
another one of
directly off of the processor.
No, Nicola.
But that's another basic rule, isn't it? New things, new stuff.
It's not as straightforward. It's not
So
straightforward.
we're going back to the days of having a bunch of additional modules just so you can run your stuff.
No. For instance,
I'm kidding. Of course, I'm kidding. They
No.
still have the old UARTs and serial ports and STLs and whatnot, but now they have a CAN bus, and I'm really
let me show you
itching
something.
to find something to run off of that CAN bus.
No. Let me show you something. So you'll try. It's easier if I show you. Okay, I have a GPS unit here, which is it is CAN bus. Okay.
And
On
the
this
purpose of
GPS
it being
unit,
CAN bus is
Well,
it
look.
is CAN bus, but on this GPS unit, I can plug in, for instance, a plain old anemometer to it, and it is an I2C. So it has ports on these boards. It has ports, so I can plug in on this GPS older devices.
and then wait, you plug everything to the GPS, and then the GPS talks to the autopilot.
No, it's not everything. Something that is nearby the GPS.
You can, you can do it.
Okay.
You can daisy. The benefit of CAN is daisy chain. That's the biggest benefit.
Right.
Is
Daisy
instead
chain.
of having everything going to the autopilot, if you had all CAN devices, that's a CAN servo, so you could daisy chain all of the CAN servos on 4 wires, and if you had a big aircraft,
And
you
run
could
them
cut
through the
wiring.
GPS unit.
And potentially run them through the GPS if you had one. Yeah, good. It's daisy chain.
That's not gonna mess it up at all.
And it's that wonderful single point of failure that we all need.
Yeah, that one wire that goes to the autopilot just drops off. Yeah, that one comes off in flight and everything just stops working. It's the future. I'm trying to sell
That's not in the market. That's not in the
It's the present here.
That wasn't in the brief.
It's all about the single point of failure.
Yeah, that's like latest generation cars. Your interior light fails and you run into it goes into emergency mode. Limit speed to 25 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, limp mode on an aircraft.
Flipping 17-year-old son has been studying manuals to find out exactly the right combinations to make the van do that. My VW van. And he said, Dad, if you do this, this, and this, this will happen. Oh, yeah. Do this, this, and this, that'll happen. Oh, thanks, son. That's great. You know, yeah. No, it is just like that.
I was just going to say, I want to see Nicola make a full cam-based aircraft. Nicola, I want you to do a loop all the way around it with all the wiring. I want you to see all the sensors, and I want you to see how much it weighs. And then
run all of that to the single CAN port on the H743. Yeah. Okay, that's going to require a lot of peripherals.
No,
because and it'll be just like that.
Why?
It'll be just like the old Christmas tree lights.
Because other than that autopilot, I have no other gear that runs on CAN.
Yes. Don't complain. It'll be like those Christmas tree lights. One bulb will go out and the whole lot will stop.
CAN-based servo there, Nicola. You can do your servos on CAN bus in Hydropilot.
I don't have servos that run on CAN bus. Where do you get that stuff? Come on.
But you can.
Jesus.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, if you have the servo, you can.
If you want to spend extra money for the CAN
interface. If you get additional breakout boards or whatever.
Actually, I don't know how much these cost, hand on heart. I still don't have a price. You have to ask if you want to buy them.
I have a guess. A lot.
No.
The nice thing is, though, they got feedback. That's
like the S-Bus servos. No, they're like an arm and a leg.
Do the S-Bus servos feedback? I can't remember. Do they feedback their position?
Depends on the models of the...
Okay.
What is this?
This is H743 slim boards. So come on, you can put one of these on your planes.
Yeah, and then a ton of breakout boards along with it.
No. You just need the CAN bus.
So you've ordered one of them, Nicola, the 765, the standard 765. That's the 765.
No, I have two of those.
You got two of them.
And I'm waiting on two H743s. And I have a regular F405 wing, the F405 wing Nano, and I absolutely love these boards.
Basically, you won't see much difference with the F for the H, other than it connects a bit quicker. In real world at the moment, nothing's even getting near using it. Are they, Nicola? They're not Louis. They're not really.
A few things are changing now. For instance, the expansion for more waypoints and everything. So Nicola can program a mission to go to that hill and back. So not only going to the hill and fall.
Yeah, but he only needed 2 waypoints out and back. He didn't.
I think even the old APM can do that.
You need lots of waypoints. Don't worry, Nicola.
Yeah, well, that's in the new one, isn't it, Louis, with the new backup?
So basically, the slim boards are, just as wide as the big ones, minus the convenient pins to connect PVM stuff. So now you have to buy 3 times more expensive CAN bus shit to daisy chain. So one wire breaks and you're left without GPS receiver servos. God knows what else that's connected to it.
Come on. Don't you trust your assembly skills?
I don't trust those connectors and wires and whatnot. I mean, right now, okay, look at it this way. Right now, you've got, the brain in the center of the plane, and you've got 20 wires coming to it. You've got safety in numbers. You lose 1 wire, you still got 19 wires connected to it. In the CAN bus thing, you lose 1 ground somewhere, and That's it. I mean, the autopilot sitting there and just whistling in the air, thinking, well, there was no way this could go wrong.
If you go for the cubes and all that, you can have 2 CAN ports.
Yeah.
So
Louis, I was going to say,
price of $400 a piece.
Louis, is there? Awesome. This is something I probably want to bring up with the dev team, but it's an interesting point Nicola's made from a redundancy point of view. I just don't know if there's technically a way to loop the cam back into both ports.
Yes.
If you get my drift, so you've got a dual redundancy. That's all.
Yeah, if you break the wire in one place, the circuit closes through the other.
Yeah. I've never actually tried what happens when you connect both cans.
So it'd be good if you had multiple CAN ports. You could run a wire from each CAN port to each device, wouldn't it? That'd be fantastic.
No, Louis, no. You can have a breakout board because you can daisy chain it. You can have one.
No. Sorry, guys. The old I2C breakout boards.
Yeah.
Are fantastic to plug in. CAN devices.
Same connector.
Yeah.
This one, isn't it?
Not the
yes, that's one.
Yeah, the 4-pin GH.
I had one in my pocket today. It's a strange thing to have in your pocket, but I found one, ironically.
He was just pleased to see us.
Boring people to have these things in your
I happen to
this sounds like a real geek fest with all this H7.
Here it is. Found it.
All the cryptographic
right
numbers.
Now.
Exactly.
Here it
Philip,
is.
I've sent you a link. You can tell
and
us
he
about
already
it.
has GPS units and servos and God knows what else. Where do you get that stuff?
It appears.
Yeah, apparently.
Doctor Who. You just
Like,
appears.
Do you wish it on a genie or something? Jesus.
How else does anyone do shopping? How else can it happen?
It just magically appears.
Jesus, the coronavirus is doing wondrous things, isn't it?
I tell you what it's done here this week is magicked away 1 million vaccines because they're ineffective. So our 1 million that arrived are no use anymore. Hooray!
Well, they got warm. They get warm or something.
Yoo-hoo!
No, it's been found to be ineffective against the
But it's still a placebo value.
Placebo, yeah. I take that every day, all day. No, do me well.
I'm on placebo forte. It's stronger.
Yeah, but for your small planes, Nicola, I believe this one might be a good chance.
Nice
No,
ball,
no, not a chance in hell that thing's gonna fit in the drift.
And
30 millimeter board.
Yeah, no chance.
Andrew did ask that in the comments.
And you put it sideways. You can always put it sideways.
Too high. See, that's why the F405 Wing Nano is perfect, because it's like 20 by 20 or something. It's 3 decks high, but only because you've got the SD card and the Bluetooth in the top deck. If you remove that, it's 2 decks high. But even with that, this thing is pretty compact and it fits in the drift pretty perfectly, where the only other autopilot that actually could fit in there is the F411 WSE, which is pretty crappy as far as I've heard. Well, at least as far as video filtering goes. And the co-pilot. And the co-pilot is pretty basic. You've got return to home, stabilize, no OSD, no nothing, which is the reason why I actually upgraded to this thing, because this is a full-fledged autopilot in like that big of a package and fits in there. That thing, that whatever smaller version 1 PCB board, that wouldn't fit in this plane. This would fit in the darts, in the smaller darts, because they got like probably that much space in there. It's wider.
Yeah, on
but
the
I probably still go with this one.
This one is from my 250 gram ZOHD Dart 250.
Yeah.
But come on,
fit in the Dart pretty well.
Why do you want a flight controller if it's all you do is smashing planes on mountains? You don't need a flight controller.
To do it in style with the latest tech, the latest smash.
Nicola wants to see how long it lasts in the snow.
Actually, Louis, over the last week, I made 7 or 8 flights trying to get to said mountain, and conditions were such that neither of my planes were able to even get close to have a chance of crashing up there. So, you know, autopilot doesn't help really.
Yeah, sorry, Dan. That link was for. I was trying to tempt Philip in. Philip's hanging around out there because his post, and he put that. In fact, let me put this post in here again.
Yeah.
Well, let me read it. In fact, let's even do better than that. Let's share it. Let's share the screen here and go here and go here. Is this one? Yeah, this one here. Is that showing up? Yeah, it's not showing up very well, is it? Let's zoom it in.
Somebody's talking about some can with RTK that's cheaper than U-Blocks, but you know.
Yeah, it's Philip. So okay, VC's looking around. We have seen the rise of counter UAS. How do you protect your legitimate drone operations from rogue CUS? CUS, and I like this line, Philip. CUS in the wrong hands is a major threat to national security. That's pretty right. Our system will not only detect CUAS installations, but by using AI and active targeting and steerable EMP, Philip's going for the VC funding here, isn't it? Will not only camouflage the location, but will render the rogue CUS gear inoperable. Now, funny enough, we know a story about rendering CUS gear inoperable, and it didn't involve a fancy system either. But anyway, I can't really go into that story. But they're not really all that hard to defeat. And so
this is counter UAS. How many Cs are we going to end up with by the time we get to the end of the week? You know.
Yeah, and if we put them down low under the desk gear, they'll be under counter. Yeah, and we have an end counter with them.
It's always a cat and mouse game.
Get them cheap at a discounter.
If someone is willing to do it, he'll do it no matter what. So
I can't see the link. I'll email it to you then. It's in your. I'll email it to you.
You're right, Louis. If someone wants to do something terrible with a drone, you can't. Yeah.
Like try to use it to get 10 kilometers high and get in the way of passenger planes. Yeah.
Or mountains. You definitely got in the way of mountains.
No, then it's the case of the mountain getting my way.
Yeah.
What's that, Mohammed?
I'm more concerned about the damage Nicola is doing to the environment, littering mountains with electronics goods.
Putting holes in the mountain by just blasting it with a plane.
Isn't that Zodphone biodegradable?
But also, so Nikolai
saving the environment. Woohoo!
So Nikolai will be perfect flying in China, where they put the holes in the buildings so you can fly through it.
Nicola, that's why Nicola only flies over snow-covered mountains, because when the aircraft goes down and the lipo goes up, it won't spread the fire. It will just burn out there and then.
Indeed, yeah.
And you'll never need counter UAS where Nikolai is flying, because it's going to hit the mountain anyway.
Because you don't know where it's going to be in the first place.
So when it crashes into the mountain and catches on fire, is it a new kind of landing flare? Do you flare for that land?
By the way, but speaking about crashing, come on, Bruce, you're on a crashing videos season.
Very much.
It's
your
the
channel
season to
looks
crash.
like the Discovery Channel with the shark season, but yours is the crashing season.
Coming up next on the Ecto Channel.
Ron's crashing channel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a separate channel for crashing.
The new camera's good, eh? I can zoom right in and it gets stabilized, and it's wonderful having 4K to play with and 600mm equivalent zoom.
Oh yeah.
I suppose with cam controllers, if you've told them the right way, hang on, I'm thinking aloud here, the right way for the control service to move, you would then get away from Ron's reversed aileron problem. So that could be a bit of an advantage with that.
He'd find a way to reverse the ailerons.
Pretty,
You just put,
yeah.
He's very,
put the servo on the wrong way around. There's always ways of doing it.
So one thing I still don't know, nobody said where we can buy shit that works on canvas.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Here we have Philip.
There,
Perfect.
there.
This timing.
Hey Nicola, get your checkbook. The guy is here.
oh,
Right.
you're so 20th century. We'd get your checkbook. Don't you know we've got
Okay,
electronic
I'm not
funds
nearly
transfer now?
rich enough for the pixel
Look,
cubes.
look.
Get your Dogecoin.
It's here. It's here. Come on. Come on.
We accept Bitcoin and Dogecoin.
Yeah, it's here. Come on, Philip. It's a plastic coin.
I can pay in ghost Bitcoin.
Ghost Bitcoin. Yeah, whatever. We'll take
And
it.
Ian's still waiting for his GPU so he can make his own.
Look at that.
Yes.
Philip arrives and there's a question for him straight away. Can you add logging for post-processing?
That's a standard feature of ArduPilot.
Yeah,
Use
come on. It's been there
Yeah, but
for.
can you add it again, please?
Okay.
Yeah.
We
Well,
have
you
actually.
you can even go nuts with all the logging. If you enable everything,
Yep.
Can
Oh
I
my God.
Well
play
suited to
like?
forestry.
Can I play World of Warcraft while flying
yes, you can also
Yeah.
play Pong
Oh,
with
yeah.
on the
reality.
OSD? On the
We've had that
OSD.
since 2014.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there are some new things.
How is your Lua programming skills, Nicola? You can do whatever you want on Lua.
Pretty much around 0.
That's enough.
All right.
Lua was developed just for guys that say that. Pretty much around 0.
100%. I created a program and I was
Oh my
on
God.
0.
Oh my God!
Yes,
run,
trust
run,
me.
run! Everybody
you need
run!
to know nothing and you can make Lua work. Well, a little bit, and a bit of help from a guy called Pete Hall, but we don't
No,
like
come
him.
on.
Pete. You know,
Yes,
Is this-
whenever I do Lua programming, it's via a guy called Pete Hall.
Yeah.
he's the world's most former. You just got to, if you ever want to know anything about Lua programming, just speak to Pete.
Someone asked me today for the instructional on Lua programming, so I just told them to look up the Profi-led stuff he did, which includes how to play Pong on a while hovering your helicopter in loiter, playing Pong with the 2 sticks of the RC on a screen. It's really
What?
important stuff.
What? Haven't you seen that, Gary? That's one of the demos that was presented on the conference last year.
I didn't see that one. So Philip, counter UAS. Tell us about counter UAS.
Look, it's a growing area of concern. I mean, we saw British Telecom, announcing that basically anyone could grab a counter UAS system from a Australian company called Drone Shield, and use it whenever they felt like, anywhere. And it just got me thinking that this is a bit of a worry. I mean, the police could be down there actually surveilling a crime scene, and some moron goes and signs up to BT and gets a counter drone system and blows the police phantom out of the sky. That's actually a real worry. So there's an opening. The technology, I mean, we understand the technology of counter UAS pretty well. That's why we have people begging us for solutions all the time, and we tell them to get stuffed. The reality is that counter UAS is just an area of snake oil. Most of the people that are selling systems, the systems don't work. So defeating them is pretty easy. Just show up, it won't work. But for the ones that actually do work, when they're in the wrong hands, that's a real concern. And so yeah, there's obviously an industry for a counter UAS system, and obviously the product range can expand from there to counter.
Well, there's a good argument for safety in height there, because if you're high enough for them not to be able to see you, they can't really counter you.
There are many things that counter UAS currently can't do, let's not go into the details of explaining to the morons how to defeat it. If they can't figure it out themselves, they shouldn't be committing whatever crime they're doing. So that's just how it is. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist. And look, we haven't banned the Toyota Hilux yet. And I don't see the police running around with special guns to defeat Toyota Hiluxes, even though they are the most commonly used weapon by insurgents around the world who carry their big machine guns, for at least they were in the 90s. So, you know.
I'm just building, while we're here, I'm just building the system, because really what you need is you get a load of wires, and then you need some sort of module like this, and then we have another one like this.
And all of a sudden you come out of the cave wearing an Iron Man suit.
And,
What I thought,
hang on. Let's put a GPS in there as well. There we are. I've built a counter UAS system while we've been chatting.
Shake well.
But what you're missing, Gary, you're missing the key element. It doesn't look like a gun.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, miss
Right.
the
Wrap it
that
in
it
gaffer
needs
tape
to
and make it
a
look like
gun.
explosives.
But
Wrap it in
not
gaffer
just
tape.
like a gun, like a huge gun, like a
Bigger
gun
than
that nobody would ever actually have.
And please don't forget, you need a key ingredient to all that. Just wrap everything on a pelican. That looks very
I've
professional.
got a whole bunch of Pelican cases coming. That's obviously the most critical part for the counter UAS system. So yeah. And as far as the system, well, you know, obviously Kevin Finnister taught us all how to spoof counter UAS system, so that's not exactly secret. But hey, these guys clearly don't read evidence and science, so not too worried about them figuring that out. So
do you know the easiest way to confuse counter UAS system?
AI or blockchain?
No, the simplest way is just put a police skin on the drone.
yes,
Put a police skin on the drone. They won't have a clue then, is it real or is it not? That's it. That's all you do.
What's really
ready.
so much?
Exactly. That's the simplest way.
What's
so,
right?
this one
Okay.
from Gatwick.
I'm outfitting all my planes then.
They won't have a clue. They wouldn't have a clue. If
Yeah.
you did that to oil drones, you put a police skin on it, no one would have a clue.
Yeah.
So what's really rattled your cage then, Philip? Is it just too much finally?
Look, I've been contacted, I don't know how many times recently, by people wanting our help to make the skies safer in trying to defeat ArduPilot-based systems, because basically every single counter UAS system out there realised that, well, they can't beat us. It's basically as simple as that. It's too easy to defeat their systems. Their systems are shit. Sorry about the language. And it just really annoyed me last night. I was reading a announcement from a particular Australian company that has the initials DS that has partnered with an Indian company, and they talked about defeating rogue nations, and they're partnered with India, so it's pretty obvious who they're talking about, etc., etc. So what all of a sudden makes one side the goodie, one side the baddie, and where will these companies stop? These companies are publicly listed companies. They have to continue to trade. Once they've sold it to all the good guys, they have to continue to sell it to the bad guys, because that's how commercial companies work. Once you get yourself publicly listed, it's not about ethics. It's not about anything like that. It's about continuing to raise your shareholders' value. So things like counter UAS, I have absolutely no problem with the Australian government, US government, whatever government, developing and using their own systems. And, we have actively helped a couple of government entities in doing what is necessary to help in serious situations. But I don't believe that this is technology that should be available to, some security company down the back of Fort Worth or something. Like, it's silly.
Well, I think For me, the interesting thing, and I'll let everyone else talk because I'm yabbing on too much, but the interesting thing is I know for well that the military had all sorts of, when I was in many, many years ago, when Pontius Pilate was a pilot, there was stuff for detecting stuff that was quite incredible. And I'm talking in Nimrod's 30 years ago. So goodness knows what they've got now. So for real considered threats or monitoring of situations, I am pretty certain there will be some very effective gear out there right now. No need to dial those companies to get whatever that fake gun is. It already exists. And we probably shouldn't know it exists. We'll assume it exists. There's no need to know it exists. I don't need to know anything about it, but I'm sure it's out there. So yeah, it's just standing it up on fear. And well, you probably didn't read, but I've been looking at sort of the history of cars and things like that, and I find it extraordinary that the motor industry generated jaywalking in America and generated they actually turned on its head because pedestrians and road users wanted cars out of the way because cars were killing lots of people in the early 1900s. And they were considered an imposition and terrible. They were driven by rich people. But the car industry got hold of the narrative, and they realized, saw what was coming, and they got themselves onto the safety committees of cities and completely turned it on its head, to the point that that jaywalking became a crime. They got it sorted, and then cities were redesigned in America for cars, in effect, and everyone moved out and etc. There are all sorts of problems that have come with it, and that's exactly sort of what the counter UAS industry is doing. They're selling a fear, or they're turning that a little bit. I mean, quite how we even consider them part of industry. Well, I'm going too far. I'll stop talking. I'll let someone else talk. Someone else have an opinion. Anyone? No one? Bruce, what's your opinion? Why aren't you making it?
I don't have an opinion.
Good.
You know me.
Aye, then. This is the biggest bunch of nonsense I mean. The BT thing is interesting when we look at this. And actually, what's interesting about this is the people, not what BT are offering. And if you look at the person who they've put in charge with this, is someone who has zero drone industry experience. This is a person that used to be a sales manager and then a customer service manager and various other things. I'm not saying anything bad about the person. I don't know. He may very well have gone out there and done loads of it. But what you have here is BT trading on the fear. And that's it. You know, that whole document and video that BT have put out is nothing but anti-drone propaganda of the worst possible type. It references an incident that never happened. There's still no evidence of that incident.
Hang on a minute. I don't know if you've read what I posted on LinkedIn, but I've clearly referenced Gatwick correctly. Like,
oh yeah, I mean,
Oh, sorry. I mean that official incident. But yeah, the BT. You know, this stinks of BT. Someone in BT saying we've got to get in this drone business. Yeah, let's go for counter UAS. And it's just sad to see such a big player, but it's not the first time they've done this. Try to enter an industry they know nothing about, and BT are renowned for doing this. They've been doing it for years. They got into TV, they got into all sorts of stuff, and they just stomp their way through it, annoying everyone until it doesn't work, and then they disappear. Now they've partnered with this company and are selling a alleged solution to all of your drone worries. And the reality is you could just go straight to that company. Why even involve BT in the first place? But
5G connection for it.
Yes, to get the street cred. They want the street cred. But it's interesting though, because I saw this bald guy sitting in front of some fire engines ranting on about it during the week on YouTube. And I'm wondering how many people are going to say we're not going to use BT anymore because they're anti-drone. But everyone is like, de-drone. Didn't de-drone just do another push? Gary probably got the press releases. They're getting out there now. And everyone's, because there's no money to be made in drones, the money's to be made in not drones.
Yeah, but that's Bob on, and the some of the UTM people, and Richard said he's going to watch. He's wondered why he didn't get an invite. I've invited you, Richard, if you are hanging around in the ether there. Some UTM companies are moaning that the various bits of remote ID and things that it's not Richard. I'll defend him a little bit, but not much. Yeah, they're not getting a slice of the pie, and the market isn't there. But then they've been looking at completely the wrong side of it. Again, a lot of them are not really. We shouldn't be welcoming them with open arms. We should be booting them out of every conference. If some of them turn up at a conference, people should say, we don't want to go to that conference, but people still go to the conference, and people still put all up. Oh dear, high horse. I'm on my high horse.
Well,
go on, Mark.
I just sent that quote through on the chat there.
Yes, if Gatwick taught us anything.
Yeah. So here's a question then, right? Who is it Altitude Angel are working with for a network again for their UTM? What's that company called that Altitude Angel are working with again? They're going to work with a certain telecoms company, aren't they? Now,
is it BT? I don't know.
Yes, it is. So therefore, Altitude Angel, now I have absolutely no time for that company. Anything connected to BT now, I don't have time for them.
How about we give Altitude Angel a chance to actually?
Well, yes, true.
Yeah,
true.
If he is here, I'll tell him we are ripping into him now.
Yeah, I hate the cancel culture stuff. It's not useful, and it's not helpful. But it will be great to see what Altitude Angel responds with this, because I mean they have done a lot of stuff for the industry, and as far as UTM style people, they appear to have the best intentions.
Well, here's an interesting question. Do we really need UTMs? Because I was thinking about this, and I've done a video which has now been completely trashed because remote ID is now dead, so I've got to redo my video. But it might be Vodafone.
Sorry, Mark. Sorry, Mark. It's not.
Do we need UTMs?
We need someone to pay to fly. How do you... Come on, you need to pay to fly. So whom are you going to pay? You just keep the money.
So here's the ultimate question. Are we not, right, just all better off with transponders, so it only blips 5 kilometers or something. Every aircraft has to have it in the UK or in the world or wherever. We have a transponder and all is pip out. The pilots are responsible for their flights. Therefore, I don't need a UTM because I am responsible for seeing where everything is. And therefore,
you have
to pay to someone.
And then UTMs only become useful to companies that have got a fleet of drones doing deliveries. Because now you have someone sat in an office and they have to dodge everyone else, or we see them and we make the adjustment. There's actually
Mark,
no need.
Where is the money in that? There is no money there. So you have
exactly
to
what
pay
I was
someone.
going to say.
I
And
get
no
the
control.
in your comment, but there actually is money in it, and this is where the smart UTM companies are going to pivot soon, and they're going to realize that they're not going to get money through sucking up to governments, because number one, all they're going to do is format what the tender is going to look like. There's no guarantee they're going to get it. Whereas if they actually work with big companies, that want to do drone deliveries and need to manage their own fleets, there is money in that. I mean, it's no different to any other fleet management system. The truck companies have massive fleet management systems, but the truck drivers are responsible for dodging the other traffic on the road. But they still need to have their fleets managed. Well,
that's. I think that's the big picture. I think we're quick to equate UTM with being just the drone world, aren't we? But if you look at the big picture of deliveries and all sorts of things that happen in the world, well, that's why Richard does say unified traffic management, not just unmanned traffic management.
507. No. I'm starting the counter UAS one. Don't be a competitor. Come on.
No, he's for UTM
myself.
No, he's gone for the counter UTM market, different market.
UTM. That's even better. Damn it! I'll patent that before he gets a chance.
It's been written in our comments. It belongs to us. That's how it works.
Damn it!
Yeah.
Will it work?
Rogue UTM systems. Well, Phil, now that, yeah, what's to stop there being a bad actor for a nation standing up
Air maps, for
UTM?
example.
FedEx, yeah. Well, you know, you stand it up, you sit there quietly, working nicely for 5 or 10 years, and then you look like you are a completely legitimate UTM, and then for some reason you need to do something somewhere, and then you can make it happen.
What's if I can get
like Facebook.
If you go to Altitude Angel's Guardian app, right, you can see that all the airports now in the UK. If you click on the UTM, not on Nat's Drone Assist, but on Guardian, you click on an airport, it goes not UTM ready. It's got this whole spiel now about UTMs. So obviously someone somewhere's, you know, laying that idea already. That's all there, if you like.
Well, on a positive note, well, they've in the UK they've dropped the oh, it's Christian. Wow. Writes off 10 million loss. Oh, here we are. Look at this. Here we are.
Oh.
Wow, what an honor to have Christian in the comments.
But this is a news from Switzerland. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what can you burn $4 million annually on if you're doing? Okay, it doesn't matter.
The CAA's drone registration system.
Basically,
come on, Nicola.
They're flying them in drones, and because they don't have UTM, the drones carrying the millions are crashing.
No. Sorry.
Let someone think of the children.
People giving themselves overly large salaries and yearly bonuses.
Just lack of imagination on your part, Nicola. I can have very good ideas to burn not $4 but $40 million in a day. So don't worry.
Nicola, do you think a buffet doesn't cost 20 or 30 grand for a main meeting? Trust me, these things are expensive.
Do you remember the cost of the toilets
and the prostitute that go along with it?
Yeah,
toilet seat 40 grand. You know, toilet seats.
We discussing toilet seat.
That was a great Bruce Willis movie. Yeah.
Yeah. All of this is. It's what do I want to say? I want to say it's not the core people that are innovating and cracking on with UAS and other robotic systems, be they ground or boats or whatever, that are causing all the noise. They're busy working and getting stuff done. It's people trying to cash in, and again, we just shouldn't entertain them in our meetings.
They're called the PowerPoint jockeys. It's the PowerPoint jockeys. Those are the guys that make the most.
I know it's cancel culture to say if an event supports them or they sponsor an event, then as an industry we shouldn't support them. But I think we shouldn't support that event.
Yeah, but we've already seen that the drone community is just every man for himself. Look at registration. No one stood up and said no. They've all just capitulated. There's no unity, even in the industry. Everyone's just out for their own.
They did. Like, I want to shout out to Jeff Wurzbach. He's been fighting very, very hard on his own dollar, on his own time. He makes bugger all, and he's been in that fight with FAA, getting zero recognition, doing a great job there. So, you know, there are people that are actually out there doing it. I mean, but that sort of covers most of the open source community. They're out there fighting for this industry to exist, and most of them don't get paid a cent.
Yeah, but the whole community as a whole, there's no unity, there's no cohesion between the various members of the community. It's all very disparate.
Come on, you get all those guys that just want the drones to take pictures to the next door's daughter. So when
your neighbours all have the curtains drawn 24 hours a day.
No. When you have such a diverse community that ranges from those guys to the professional guys that are flying drones for a living, it's so hard to get a community. For the professional guys, the remote ID and UTM, it's just another hurdle to pass. Come on, I have to go fly to somewhere. I have a directory with about 40 papers that I need to have one pilot flying one drone in a certain location. What's in it for me to have instead of 40, 41? It gives me about the same. So the most affected people are those that just want to have pictures from the next door's neighbor. And those guys don't get organized because they fly. Come on, how many DJI minis were sold in Christmas, and how many have flown more than 10 times since Christmas? So it's just another gadget, and not even as used as a phone. So the guys that got the phone on Christmas have used more the phone than the drone.
Well, here's the bizarre thing. So today there was an event, wasn't there, Gary?
And Christian's here. He's in the chat. Christian's on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so there was an event today, right? Now, it was aimed at updating about all the new regulations and everything, wasn't it, Gary, to the industry?
Yeah.
But, right, so I'm in the industry, if you like, in the UK, but it would have cost me £40 to go and watch this event, to join in, to watch, to learn. Instantly, I'm being penalised for something that I should get for free. They've already created a barrier against the industry by going, do you know what? We're going to do something. What we're going to do is we're going to do it so that you can't see it. And that wasn't good. I hope it comes out on YouTube or something, because, you know, a lot of operators will have missed that, especially in the UK. All the legal guys, you know, we want to be legal. We want to fly correctly. You release all this stuff, all these updates, and all of a sudden, it's like, hey, what? Hey, why are we not being told this? Why are we not invited into this kind of thing? They're kind of going, well, what we'll do is we'll do it, but you guys don't matter. You guys in the industry, actually, we don't need to.
Well,
it's not like that. That's what it feels like for, you know, that's what we feel like it's being done to us. You know, we feel like we're being left out a bit, and you don't want that for the industry.
No, you're being milked for money.
It was Arpaz represented you at it, shall I say?
250 members if they're lucky, and most of it's big industry or the big boys are in there. So that's, you know, I will get in trouble with Arpaz. I know I will, and they do a good job, I'm sure.
And the BMFA were there,
and they're doing the best. They are doing stuff that's brilliant. Yeah,
it is interesting, and what always interested me, and Christian was there from DJI. He gave a great talk, and funny enough, is on our YouTube channel. So he was there from DJI, saying, giving the state of play as regards the manufacturers. But it does feel, often you go to these things and you see the people that are there, and it's like, well, I've not actually seen much of you about in, shall we say, the industry, and yet here you are talking about it. So who are you? What have you flown? Tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, yeah. What to say? £40. Of course, it was the Royal Aeronautical Society, so I guess that's up to them, isn't it?
I suppose it is, but it would be nice if the CAA and RPAS, right? Because RPAS represents us and the CAA is giving the information. You would think RPAS would have held its own little event of some kind, wouldn't you? And done it with no cost to the industry. You would have thought that would have been the right way to do it.
Well, yes, and the two big takeaways was the announce of no remote ID, but no flashing LEDs, green flashing LEDs. But the caveat was that DFT are looking at it, and the A2CFC and all those other things are not, if you're in the UK, are not valid in mainland Europe. Now that the UK is a third country.
Was that a thing of third world? Just
No, it just means because we left the European project, so we're still part of Europe, because you can't detach us from Europe. It's not possible. So it's just we left the EU political system, so the EU project, and therefore we're now a third world country in their eyes. We're not connected to them as such.
Yeah, you raised the anchor and you sailed away. So
we can't. We're an island. We can't sail.
Used to be able to. Above beyond there.
You used to have a really good navy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, we've changed topic.
No. Louis into sailing, and he knows all about that stuff. Above beyond saying about the AMA in America. What was the state of play with? Did they not change in America
about the
flight?
About the AMA? Why don't? And I was looking at comments from Above and Beyond Drones. Why don't drone users get into mass into AMA and take over on the next election cycle?
Yeah. That there is probably the most logical thing that I've
just take over. Just take over that and do a legal takeover of the AMAs of the world.
Why?
So
because, like has been mentioned, the drone community is so splintered that they couldn't organize a piss up in a brewery.
Oh my God! Not sometimes. Yes, I can speak here in Portugal. That basically the guys that used to fly the control line planes were in charge of the local AMA, and now they're not. You just need a bunch of guys to get organized. Not many, not thousands.
But unfortunately, I've seen it in the BMFA group just today. That's a British Model Flying Association. Somebody was discussing regulations, and straight away they were saying, "Oh, it's only happening because of those drone people." What's allowed to be built up is a division between the two sides, and they plug into each other and get nowhere, which is probably what the regulators want. Because whilst we're all infighting, and it's not us, it's you, it's us. They can pass through whatever they need to pass. Now, It was noted, and Richard's in the comments, one of the legal chaps that was there, and I put that little bit of video up for Richard as well, said it's amazing how quickly this drones bill is going through Parliament in the UK almost by magic. He said words to that effect. And we've got to get onto it and start jumping up and down, as Richard has been saying.
So
go on, Mark.
What's also interesting is FPV UK, Simon Dale, who runs FPV UK, they've been instrumental as well, and they support the FPV side a lot more, and they've been instrumental as well. Between them, there's about 40,000 of them if they organise themselves. And it's a shame that model flyers don't get that any new rules are going to affect them as well as the drone flyers. They need to get out of mentality. Unfortunately. Don't take this the wrong way, especially Bruce. It's normally an older generation modelers, and they're stuck in their ways, down the club. And all they want to do is take out their little puppeteer and just go and fly it, or the big boy. They're flying old model aircraft. They think nothing worse than drones are horrendous and horrible. But the rules that affect us affect them.
Actually, it's interesting. Have you noticed, though, because there are certain dispensations, like if you're a traditional old flyer in the USA, there's special things set aside for you freers. They've made concessions for the traditional hobby, and I think in the UK they're doing the same through the BMFA, making concessions. In Canada, the MAC, they got concessions. So the regulators have given some concessions to the traditional hobby. And when we talk about why don't drone flyers take over the AMA, what we forget is that there are 200,000 AMA members, traditional hobbyists. There are 1.7 million registered drone operators, but the vast, vast, vast majority of those are not hobbyists. They have a drone. They've got a drone that's in the back of the wardrobe. They take it on holiday in the summer and do a few shots, fly arounds. It's not their hobby. It is just a little appliance for them, like the dishwasher and the iron and the kettle. And they're not going to get all involved in political and champion for its rights in the way that a true hobbyist is. So traditional hobbyists probably still outnumber drone hobbyists. So it's going to be really hard to do a takeover because the traditional hobbyists, they're just more in number, and that they are more passionate about what they're doing than the guy with the Mavic Mini that he bought at Christmas and hasn't flown it for the last 3 weeks. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah. But thankfully, I mean, our BMFA, I will tip my hat to them. Their Article 16, what a blinder. I mean, that is just fantastic. They pulled that, they must have gone to the CA and gone, look, your current rules, if you do this, you're going to impact so many flying sites. This is what we need. And they did. There was have you seen the YouTube BMFA video, Gary?
No, I haven't, but it maybe explains that there was 3 ways for traditional model flying to keep happening, and that video will be coming up as soon as this finishes as well from the BMFA guy. And they did that on the 31st of December. They got that pushed through, and they were the first model aviation group in Europe to get that done. And there's James. That's I've forgotten what you are. Above and beyond. So
above and beyond.
It's above your head. It's above your head. So he can come in and because he wants to talk unity and bringing us all together into one big house of love, and exactly because that's how we're all going to work.
I sit there and I watch what Patrick Egan is posting of $800,000 wasted on a magazine for the AMA. Nobody wakes up until we take it away from you. You know, even now when I try and hold a meeting or whatever, I do a little stream on Tuesday nights and talk about remote ID. I got one guy yelling at me that everything the government does is boilerplate paperwork. You don't have to worry about it. Trust me, I've read this 900 pages. They've got little lines in there like, you know, this is an emerging technology. It will be on a continuous basis. These people have no idea what's coming because they haven't even thought of it yet. They're basing it on what the industry counter USA is going to tell them to do.
That's the point. You just need a small group of people. You don't need thousands to take over an organization like AMA. That's what you need. And
you just become members. So what you do is become a member of the AMA, right? You probably got areas. I don't know. It might be slightly different to the UK. You just go for the area meetings, work your way in, start wiggling your way through the committee, join, offer your time, become the area manager or whatever, and go right. Now I know. Get all your friends in there, and then you need to go up another level, and you will do that, and you just keep going and going, and then it's yours.
They all think that these fields are going to magically appear in 18 months. The AMA is going to make fields for everybody. I'm in a city of 100,000 people. There is nowhere to fly. There's nowhere for the kids to go and, a park, let's say. So you think fields are just going to magically appear?
Sure they do. They just hire Harry Potter. They just hire Harry Potter, and with the wand, he makes it appear. No, it's like Mark is saying. You just need a group of people to organize and start climbing out the ladder of the AMAs of the world.
But it was said before, these guys here are so splintered that
you just need a small group of people. You don't need crowds.
You need about 12.
Is that you off, Ian?
Yeah, I'm going to call it a night, guys, because I have a very, very early start tomorrow. I put it in the private chat, Gary, but I don't know if you saw it.
I just see it now,
yeah. Sorry. So stay safe, everyone. I will speak to you all again soon.
You started a rush. All right.
Sorry. Carry on.
Take care. Have a lovely evening, mate. Cheers.
All right. See you guys.
Cheers, Nicola.
He's back. There we are.
You don't need a lot of people. All you need is a group of 12 to 20 of you, because in these areas, it's like the BMFA, you have like subcommittees or sub areas. All you need is enough people to go to that, start joining in. Don't rush your time. When the elections come around, just put your names in, get yourselves into the system. Okay. It only takes 10 or 12 people per area. And before you know it, the AMA would be yours. it wouldn't take that much at all. If you think, 52 states, I'm willing to bet the AMA's probably got local committees for each state. It's not impossible for you to.
No, but I'm just looking at this little manual I've got here, and it says should have organised this 10 years ago.
Yes.
Don't the elections for the presidency, and aren't all members entitled to vote? So if you've got like 12 people in there, and there are 200,000 of the old school with their oily nitro trainers, how are you going to get voted into positions of power?
It's easy. It's much. No, come on, Bruce. Even you could do it in New Zealand. Even you, if you wanted, you could do it in New Zealand. You just don't want to do it.
But I'm never one to foment trouble.
No, it's not.
No, never.
I thought I was muted. Sorry. Yeah.
You're known worldwide as the peacemaker, Bruce.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the bottom line is, though, is that the folks that have been ranting on about this for, SES News, that's why kind of SES News was set up in 2008. So 13 years, they've been saying, look what's coming. The sky's falling in. That is how we've been treated, because we have been running around shouting, the sky's falling in, the sky's falling in. And here it comes.
Well, look at the classification. I've been talking about the classification for so long now that people are bored. They don't even know what the hell it is, Oh, I only have a Mavic Mini 2 or whatever the hell they can afford. My $800 drone. That's still $800 that you're not going to be able to fly. You can't get that in their heads.
Well, I think it is only something perhaps you worry about. We've said this before. If you take your model airplane out on the weekend, you put it in you think about putting it in the car on Friday or sorting it out on Friday at work, and Saturday morning comes, you put it out, you go to the field. You come home again, watch the game, have a beer, then it's Sunday, and then it's next week. So you don't put as much thought on, that sounds rude to put it like that, but you're not thinking, it's not the thing you're thinking about. We are people with no friends who don't go out much. So we think about this all the time. And that's a bit of a difference. You have to remember that most people aren't that committed to it, not because they don't want to, but because they're living their lives. And oh well, I've heard about it, but well.
Yeah, we have too many Netflixes, HBOs, and Disney channels. And like John said, this is perhaps the beginning of the Wall Street bets on RC flying. So it's just a matter of getting people engaged. And the guys in the US,
the guys who fly RC want to distance themselves from the UAV traffic, guys.
Yeah.
They want nothing to do with UAV.
And that's where we're going to fall down, isn't it? Because united we stand, and divided we fall. And we've all got to start realizing that these regulations, mark my words, he says, mark my words, this is going to roll up into paragliding, ballooning, general aviation, all sorts of pushes. What they can get away with us down here at the bottom of the pit, what they can get away with us, they'll push uphill into other stuff, because especially at the minute, because of the human malware situation, as Ian says, aviation authorities around the world are making no money. I've heard that our South African UAS unit is effectively shut down because there's no money coming in. They're going to find it from somewhere, and we're a good target.
So here's a question, and I don't know, because obviously I'm UK based. In America, the AMA, can you have another affiliation to have the same, that could represent just drone flies, for example, UAV flies? Can you have another organization? Because in the UK, we have a couple. So can it not happen in America as well? And therefore...
But wait, there's more. I want to get in on this. And I started saying that, but I've forgotten what they call it. CBOs. In America, the FAA said they're happy to work with a CBO, but they've done a really, really clever thing. They've not said anyone's a CBO.
Right.
Right. Whee! So in actual fact, there's no one in America you could really work with.
And to make it even just a little bit, and I don't want to say that they should even be involved, but no government, city, town, or any of that can apply for making their park or any area in their town a flying area. They specifically say it has to be a CBO, a government agency, a city, town, whatever, can't apply to say, okay, people in our city can fly here. No. So
it's
now,
a super clever dodge.
yeah.
It's super clever.
if-
So are they
if
still
there's
going? Are they still going to do the?
If
Sorry,
there's no
go on.
procedure, doesn't that mean there's no procedure for saying no? I mean, at the end of the day, put in an application, put in a safety case. It could be a page long. This is how we're going to act. We are going to be a community-based organisation. This is where we're going to be. Blah 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 blah, and see what happens.
But you have to be recognised. If you're not recognised, and it's the discretion of the FAA to recognise the CBO, isn't it?
Apply to the FAA, and at the end of the day, I mean, the FAA being a government organisation, there's rules about how quickly they need to reply and blah 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 blah. Like, play the system. Like, this is one thing that I don't think our industry is being good at doing, is playing the system. The big boys are playing the system very well. You know, your Amazons and your Alphabets are doing a great job playing the system. We need to be better at playing the system.
Where is Amazon Airlines? Because every time I look up, and God knows every time I fly, there's never another drone in sight. So I'm still worrying about where does this UTM need to.
They don't need to. It's marketing. It's got nothing to do with drones. I mean, come on.
Right.
Like, yeah. I mean,
you are the FAA there must be a way to get yourself acknowledged as a group. It cannot just be the AMA. There has to be another way.
Not even the AMA. Not even the AMA. There's no. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, James. There is no CBO.
but
Nobody's been approved. Nobody.
Nobody.
And you only have 18 months from the date of enactment. Okay, so that was the end of December. So let's say they actually post this in the Federal Register in January, February. Well, we're in the end of February now. But anyway, there's a starting clock from the minute it gets posted in the Federal Register of 18 months. And everything then stops.
Get in there.
Yeah, you have to.
I find it amazing. A country where you can own a semi-automatic or an automatic or a gun or whatever, because obviously here we can't. I find it astounding. Your gun owners have more rights than your drone flies. It's astounding.
Yes.
It's astounding.
Well, Tony Hallett makes an interesting comment there about in the region, the maintainer named Freers. Now, the Freer thing, did that stay? Did they slightly amend that in that, because they were going to do that 18-month thing and say everything that's a Freer now, boom, is staying, and as soon as it goes, it goes. Has that been changed?
No, they've amended that. They're going to be issuing new Freers as time rolls on, but each one has a time frame, a sunset, then they've got to reapply at the end of that. So it's rolling target.
Exactly. They have to keep applying.
Yeah,
and
507.
Patrick just made a very valid point. Drones aren't in the Constitution.
No, but neither are airplanes.
Yes, but guns are. So the answer
No, it just said arms. It just said arms. It didn't say guns. It's the right to wear T-shirts. It's the Second Amendment, the right to wear a T-shirt.
You have the right to defend. And in fact, it's your duty to defend.
So football's in there as well. Football's in there. Yeah,
but bullets weren't in the Constitution.
Look at the lobbying. How much does it cost to lobby?
Yeah.
You know, and you would need to charge people. $20 seems like a piddly amount, but try and get it from people to join a membership. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And very sadly, we have seen this and we rant on. And the trouble is, it's just, we have these same cyclical ranting arguments and things. And Louis is right. It does need a few people. Hello. Look, the barristers, now we're okay. We haven't got a legal opinion because he's not allowed to give us a legal opinion because we've not instructed him. But legal notice, now Richard's a barrister. He's a barrister, so he would be the man I would get to consider that.
And you can't apply.
That's a valid point. And that's it. Just basically, we need people to apply to be CBOs. If they've got a valid safety case, they've done all of the requirements, they've met all the regulations, and they apply and they get rejected within whatever, like there'll be a time limit. FAA's got all these time limits of what has to happen when and blah, blah, blah. If they get rejected, that's when you ring up Richard and say, hey, I did everything right. You know, try and make some of these guys that are helping us from the legal side of things make their job easy by doing a bunch of work for them. Like,
there's no procedure for application. There's no steps. There's nothing laid out. How do you apply? There's nothing done. So you can't say you didn't meet the criteria because no criteria have been published.
If there's no criteria, they cannot refuse you on criteria. I mean, that's their bad luck.
Right,
but,
right.
You know,
you have to get the no first before you can act upon the no.
No, you just apply and go, I've applied.
No, you apply.
Information.
Apply. Send an email. I mean, if there's no procedure and there's no anything, then put a reasonable safety case together, find a decent location, have a decent board of, you know, your group, like be a proper community-based organisation. I mean, there's rules about being a community-based organisation outside of aviation. So, you know, be a community club and then apply. Get that application on the way. If they say no, then that's when the lawyering starts.
And if you do a safety assessment as well as they've done theirs, you can't fail.
I think it's very much how FPV UK started. They put everything together, and they do have all the paperwork. They do have how your training should be. They do have all the stuff. They have all the good stuff. So yeah, maybe it is time to do that. I don't know.
The 2018 reauthorization said they had to come up with a plan within 2 years. So that was the reason for the NRPM to answer that comment.
Yeah.
But it still says it's an evolving document dependent upon as technology moves. So there's nothing solid at this point. And
don't see that as a negative. That's actually a positive. Because what that actually means, you think of how long it takes stuff to go through Congress, get Senate approval, blah, blah, blah. If you actually put in there, CASA have done the same in Australia. There's all these rules, and it says, you know, or subject to CASA approval, which is great, which basically means that the government has approved CASA making new exemptions to the rules on the fly, which is actually a really, really positive thing. So sometimes look at that, like flip that on its head and look at it as a potential positive.
well, if you read the documents, there was a lot that the FAA turned down as far as the USS, the service supply. They really shoved it to a lot of companies, including DJI. They said no, you know, and everybody had to be told, no, DJI's convenient little UUID and remote ID on their apps, that's absolutely useless crap. Turn it off. It's got nothing to do with the U.S. government. In fact, we were talking about the only part that will ever start this whole certification will be that broadcast transmitter.
Cheers, Philip. Look after yourself.
Yeah, guys, thanks.
Take care, mate. We'll look forward to buying your system.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, I'm glad he's gone. Are we worrying about this far too late? Really? Is the stone roll? Is it too far down that hill rolling, gathering moss?
Never too late, mate. It's never too late.
Never too
Unless you actually decide to try, you will never know. To give up before you have tried, you have already failed. You've already given in. You've already accepted the fate. This is a simple fact with everything. With every decision we make in life, whether we go straight on, we turn right, we turn left. You can never go backwards because backwards is not possible in time. You must decide, okay, I need to make a change or I don't. So are you going to keep going and do nothing? Or are you going to challenge it, okay, in some format and turn right? I'm not going to go straight anymore. I'm going to go right. I'm taking this direction. I'm going to try. Or are you going to go left? I'm going to try, but I'm going to try it a different, you know, you've got a choice how you will try it. Either you do nothing and go straight, then you accept fate.
I agree with that. You know, you have to agree with that. That's how this nation was formed. But you're fighting the IPP program that's been going on for 5 years.
You've saying, right, and don't get me wrong, right?
I hear you.
But you are now, you're on that road, right? You're going straight, right? You're not trying to go, hang on a minute, I've got to make this turn. And it could be you've got to do a 90-degree hard right and go, we've got to do this. I've just got to try. If you don't try, you will never know. You know, it's like the worst that can happen is you get shut down completely, or someone will think and go, oh shit, in the office and go, oh shit, we've got to deal with this now. Now we have to have procedures and we've got to set this up. Because if they've got no procedures in place, they can't go, well, we've got no procedure for this. They can't, you can push back and go, well, that's not good enough. You know, you have to have a procedure. You've got to have a way for me to apply to do this. You know what I mean? There's got to be some sort of thing. So either you go straight and you just accept it, or you turn right or you turn left and try something.
Well, again, when they finally get it published, you'll have 18 months to get that, to work on that part.
Well, I would contact them now, because if they've not thought how to create a new organization, it will never be in that paperwork. You can actually screw them a little bit by going, well, hang on a minute, I want to create a new organization like the AMA, just for drone flyers, but if they release that document and there's no way to do that, you could be kippered where they'll go, oh, we now have to write this in as well. That might not be a bad thing. Be preemptive sometimes. Don't give them the chance to say no. Go, oh, hang on a minute. Let's just write this email nice and politely and go, look, this is our charter. This is what we want to do. We want to become like the AMA, but we're just for drone users. You know, we're going to have our membership. This is how it's all going to work. You know, we want to be able to fly where we can legally, if the airspace is good, or we follow the rules of the air, you know, and all that.
It's just the drone community. We're an open church that welcomes all.
Yeah, model flies and everything.
And then what we don't welcome is division based on you fly a Nitro Trainer and I fly a Phantom 4. We welcome all. Be you FPV, be you Free Flight, be you even Bruce. No, we're not that welcome. But you know, something like that. Don't continue down the road of thinking. No, turn right or turn left. Give them the thought they've got to do something, because if that document comes out and there's no way to do it, it'll be very hard to get it put into that document. Where if you ask the question now, they're going to go, oh crap! Who's dealing with this? We've got this problem now to deal with.
And I think they're open to that. I really do, because
try it. Just ask them, Jim. That's all you've got to do.
Right. The American Drone Association is coming.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? You might want to change the word drone, but you might not.
I know. Oh my God, the news heard the word drone.
Yeah, exactly. So you might get a small unmanned aircraft association.
But where are the people going to come from? Where are the members coming from? All those that are in the traditional hobby belong to AMA and so forth, and the other relevant old school groups. And as I said before, the rest of the drone users, they're not drone users. They're people who have flying cameras that they use occasionally. And then there's the hardcore of FPV. But look at even in the USA, they've got the FPV Freedom Coalition, and I'm sure 507RC in the comments will tell us how many members are there of the FPV Freedom Coalition in the entire continent of North America. It'll give us an idea to the size of this market, and it is really small. We're such a tiny group of people. What does it say?
Well, what was it? Only 40
on the screen, Jim.
American.
That's the way forward.
Right.
Have we patented that? Quick, let's register that. That's such a good idea.
Website registration.
Is it American Medical Association as well, though, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so only a few hundred people in the entire North America are members of the FPV Freedom Coalition. Now, we know there are a lot more than that flying FPV, but even within the FPV community, people are just, just looking out for myself. I don't give a damn about anybody else. Someone else will take care of this for me. I just want to go fly, and that's the problem. We've got to change that mindset.
I'm just going to go and fly in the park. I don't care about no stinking regulations. I'm just going to fly in the park.
But who's going to complain?
They
Who's
say
going to
that,
complain
Gary.
when they get arrested or the drones are confiscated? Oh, why is this happening? Why hasn't someone done something about this? You know, it's going to be, why didn't Mr. Chicken Little up here? You tell us.
They actually say that. I'll fly anyway.
Yeah.
Don't give a damn about your rules.
Yeah.
I can never say that. I'm a real rule follower. Me, I would never.
I mean,
Here's the book.
Today, so in the event that was on today, there was an interesting slide or comment I heard, and it was how they're going to police in the UK drones, because there's a big debate at the minute how here in the UK they're going to police everything, and they turned around
that one up,
and they said, the drone systems can do it, and it's like, hang on a minute, you're going to pay someone to go out and find rogue drones then? That was hilarious. The person who was speaking about that clearly has no idea. They should not be speaking on the behalf of any kind of drone
I think that's going to be a revenue positive. They're going to hire people to find drone flights. Yeah. There's just not enough of them there. They'll go broke. It'll be a loss center. So
Red will save the day, but not in England. Not in England, because they're not having it.
Yes,
they're not having it.
Yes, perfect.
Yet.
And to be honest, I did a bit of a rant video which they destroyed, saying remote ID in the UK is now dead. Because I was like, well, why are we developing something twice?
Is it dead? Because the FAA said they went through ICAO and they...
UK is dead in the UK, United Kingdom. Not in America, I'm afraid, only here.
No, I know. But because they did make note of their caucus with ICAO, and I remember Australia being in there, and I don't remember what other countries, but the International Civil Aviation Authority, was part of there, right?
Well, I actually put a Freedom of Information Act in because, and in the UK, you can just go, right, I want to know everything about remote ID. So I asked what companies were involved. I wanted to know the emails from the meetings about remote ID. Anything that's been done in this working group, I wanted to know about it, what companies were trying to push for it, everything. And I said, if you do remote ID, if you're a company and you're flying your drone and you're working and your unique selling point can often be the way you fly. So Louis, for example, he goes out and he does jobs and he flies wind turbines. The style and way his pilots work will be unique to his company. How are they going to protect that data from getting out onto the internet so his competition could use it against him? Okay, and that was one of my questions to the DFT. And then we've lost it. Remote ID has been said it's now dead.
Well, 507 RC said, did the UK say at this time, like the FAA did?
This time.
They actually said the DFT, Department of Trade, are still looking into it. So
it's not dead, it's stunned. It's stunned.
It's stunned.
Like a Norwegian blue.
It's caught in the headlights. Yes.
but the interesting thing is, we're creating the same thing twice throughout the whole industry. And this is where it makes no sense. Why do we have remote ID if we just went, everything has that transponder on it instead, and that transponder could replace remote ID? So instead of wasting money developing two systems, okay, we throw the remote ID one in the bin. We just go all transponder, right? Flies, everything should just have the transponder. It doesn't matter if it's ADSB or something else or FLARM, as long as they all talk to each other so they can see each other in the air, it doesn't matter. Okay, and the remote pilot becomes responsible for their flight, very much like the lorry drivers. Okay, and then a UTM becomes a system for fleet management for the big companies like Amazon who want to do everything else. And the rest of them could just fly. That's how it should be in my eyes.
Right, exactly. And that would be a perfect system, because we're not going to ever interfere with the 500 people who are chasing the drone that's about to deliver the $10 package. They're going to steal the drone out of the air as well as the package. So let's leave that to Amazon.
Yeah.
If you go for this nonsense idea, how are the telephone companies going to make the money out of the two SIM cards, one needed for the remote ID and one needed for their UTM? And then there's two data packages. How you're those poor telephone companies who are denying them revenue.
Charge double. They double charge.
Well,
so
I'll tell you what, if they can give me a good mobile service, right, in the countryside, in the UK, I'll be impressed. We still get 3G here.
You still have it here too.
Now, Mark, you asked before about why BT was getting involved in this. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? They have a unique selling point. If we detect a drone that uses our network, we'll just disable the SIM card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see nothing wrong with your remote transponder idea. I mean, that was the whole reason, because they couldn't use the ADSB because they can't see below 400 feet. They don't have the radar for it.
Now then. That's because they didn't foresee. What they didn't foresee with ADSB was that you can have citizen networks of receivers. It's a Raspberry Pi and an SDR radio, and you can quickly outperform the official receiver stations. So lots of countries stood up very expensive towers, and they're only expensive because the manufacturer said, oh yeah, no, we don't just put a Raspberry Pi and an SDR stick in here and a little antenna. No, we've got racks and racks of computers and millions of dollars worth of gear in here. And we'll sell you that, and by the way, the coverage will be rubbish. They didn't foresee technology. Right. Oh, I am going well off topic. I am a big fan of ADSB, and I hate ADSB. ADSB is a good solution for aeroplanes. It's a poor solution for us. No, look, there's an that must have cost $1 million.
Do you remember the guy who did the balloon with the SDR? He actually he sent off the balloon, and I don't remember how far it went, but he was following it with SDR. He had one hanging off the air balloon, and off it went. Yeah.
So the reason we can't use ADSB is because it's such an old system. There's not enough codes. If you had to wind it out now, there's not enough codes to use, and the coverage is poor. So they're arguing that we'll use 5G and coverage is everywhere, which we know it isn't, and it'll be wonderful and it'll be great, and 5G will solve everything. Absolutely every ill of 2021 can be solved with 5G. Of this, there can be no doubt. It is. There's a lot of misinformation about RID, ADSB, and all the various bits, or a lot of not understanding it. And we've got, as a group, we've got to understand it properly so we can make better arguments than I just have.
Well, they outlawed it. Which in the United States, with this act, it outlaws ADSB for drones, for small unmanned aircraft systems.
Yeah, because they
outlaws it.
Yeah, it's just the kicker is, right. So we don't want the problem is we don't want a transponder that talks to any mobile network. That's a pointless system. We don't want it to talk to ground stations. All it has to do is ping out something that the other transponder can see. So you're flying, for example, you've got your iPad, you've got your device, right? And it just pings up and says, there's an aircraft, it's 2 kilometers out and it's at 1,000 feet and it's traveling that way, and it'll show which way it's traveling. And you know what? It's at 1,000 feet, I'm at 400 feet. I don't care.
Well, there's your money. If you want to have that app, to see those drones and track those drones, but it could be their transponders, pay for that subscription service.
Well, that could be DJI's app, and these transponders should just be pinging that information out whenever it's switched on. It could be built into the DJI drone, but it shouldn't have to go to any kind of cell tower to go anywhere else. And remember, Air Maps, right? So our friends at Air Maps, you can pay them to make your aircraft not appear if it's ADSB, by the way. Transmitted.
Is that right?
If you look, I'm sure it's them, or is it 360 radar? One of them. Or it could be both of them. You pay them.
Flight away.
Then you get the premium account that you will. That is the guy that pays more and sees everyone, including those that did not pay enough. Come on, it's.
But yeah, you can pay some money to disappear.
Well, as a community, when we have the American. What was it? American Drone Association? I can't remember what they said now.
Multi-rotor.
Multi-Rotor Association. I said, when the American Multi-Rotor Association stands up, one of the first things they could do is say to the members, hey, don't you want to put a Raspberry Pi in your loft and start sending ADS-B data, and we'll have a unified map, and that will pump into Mission Planner, and we'll create our own system for electronic conspicuity and getting out of the way of stuff, which is easily done. If a fool like me can do it, anyone can do it.
We haven't even said what the frequency is going to be yet. They haven't even defined the frequency for the FCC.
For remote ID.
Yeah, for the broadcast module.
It's pretty much constrained by the fact that it has to be a personal electronic device, which basically means a cell phone. So it's going to be 5.8 or 2.4.
2.4, yeah.
Or near field communication. Hold your phone up to the drone and
you always have to fly between those loops when you go in the shop, sort of a thing.
We auction off the frequencies here. You know, when the TV stations went digital, we auction off the airway here.
Yeah.
Well, Ofcom gives them away.
But you could jump to 9. You could jump to 9. Is it 938? You could jump to
968. It would be 868 in America. Yeah, 9. Oh, I could have got that wrong.
Aren't the Japanese working off of the 900 system?
It's not the right IC band, isn't it?
What do these RTKs work off of? They're 900, aren't they?
The which ones?
The RTK base stations, aren't they 900?
I don't know.
From DJI? I think they're 900 frequency.
Don't know.
It'll be in the ISM, one of the ISMs somewhere, be it either 430.
My vote's for 27 megahertz.
Yeah. 868 in Europe. Okay, 868 in Europe. Although, thanks, John. Yeah.
But most of these frequencies
then the personal device could be a CB radio on 27 megahertz. That'd work.
Well, they did state that they don't want to. The FAA doesn't want to spend any money. This has got to be a system that doesn't cost them any money. You know, it's like that Paperwork Reduction Act.
So what you need to do is you need to adopt what is it? What's that gliding group? The open gliding group. What you need to do,
and that's OGN.
Yeah, but you need to create your group, Jim. And go. What we'll do is we'll put in the airware open glider system transponders on all our drones, so all our drones are seeable. It'll cost you guys what, $20 of these, Gary, or something? $30.
Yeah.
It costs you $20 or $30 to rig these up, right? And you just go. It won't cost the FAA any money. It'll only cost our members, buy one of these, stick it on the drone. Job's a good one.
You've got the big heavy one in. I did it again, but the thing, you've got the big heavy one there in your hand. That's the lighter weight one, but with the screen. But
FPV capable then. FPV capable.
Oh, what, to get it down in size wise into a little FPV?
You can have the camera look at the screen.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you have to look at the screen?
No, you just plug it in, turn it on, it transmits you location.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a little transponder, basically.
Yeah, actually, these aren't transponders, are they? Because transponders react to a query signal. These are just beacons.
Transmission and response. Yeah, they're broadcasts. They're broadcasts.
Yeah, just beacons.
Yeah, beaconing. That's right. But it worked. Well, I flew one of these years ago under a Phantom as a demonstration of that point, swinging it in a teacup or whatever I did. And yeah,
Can't we just tie road flares to our craft, and because they're pretty visible even in the daylight?
Yeah.
Smoke trail tells where you've taken off from.
Don't need green lights in the UK anymore. It's all good. Anyway, we are definitely down the rank corridor. Full-size Crossfire RX can already transmit FLARM. It can, Phil, and that's one thing that Trappy was very, very, very ahead of the game with. And I'm amazed that more's not made of that. And I think he's clever. It's a software update, I think. And again,
but isn't there licensing fees associated with FLARM? Isn't it pretty expensive? Yeah. The OGN would be better.
That's why OGN stood up, because it was an open system. The FLARM people closed it, and the OGN fork kept going. So they're compatible. FLARM aircraft can see OGN aircraft, and vice versa. But yeah, there was some skullduggery afoot at the beginning of FLARM. That's for sure. But you're right. Yeah. OGN is good, but Trappy would go the Flam way. He's Swiss. It's from Switzerland. He would do that, wouldn't he? So, yeah. Anyway, we're definitely going into the land of rants here. So before we leave the land of rants,
we are going to the land of rants. We've been in the land of rants from the beginning. Come on, Gary.
I know. Yeah, Phil's talking about the Flam. Yeah, and I think also in the Trappy thing, Phil, I mean, you got to pay a little bit of extra money as well to unlock the firmware or something like that, something clever. Probably the feeder goes to Flam. Has anyone else seen anything else this week before we go?
There's an orange cone at the end of the runway in Tokoroa. I don't know what it's there for. It's not a white cross. It's just an orange cone on the end of the runway. Who knows?
So are they gonna close you down now? Have you finally managed to get the airfield closed?
No.
Or they're just
signing? They're just. I've written to the minister explaining that the situation and saying that when something bad happens, people need to be held accountable right up to a ministerial level if nothing is done about the situation. So we'll see what happens about that. Just no word in his ear. I don't know.
Can you please stick a pirate flag in that cone? Get a stick, put a little pirate flag on it, and put it in your cone.
There'd be a danger to low-flying aircraft. I couldn't do that.
Yeah. Best put one up in the tower.
Yeah.
Up on the tower. All right.
Put a white cross out first. Put a white cross out first.
James, tell us again, what time is your broadcast and where can people find your channel?
It's Above and Beyond Drones on YouTube, and we basically do rants, because they don't want to talk about the whole, with FAA remote ID. You can only get bits and pieces in before they splinter off into FPV and camera drone fighting. But tonight we're going to talk about we're sick and tired of educating the public. I mean, I've actually been surrounded by a motorcycle group with guns out because my drone flew over their clubhouse. How the hell did I know?
You should have threatened them with a drone.
What's amazing is, right, and again, right, forgive me, Jim, because I understand, I've been to America a few times. You love your guns, something chronic, right? If someone said to you, they're going to take the gun off you, right, America would just go absolutely ape shit.
Look at the riots you have. Look at the riots you have in America. If you're coming through my door, you're getting your head blown off. That's the way it is. It's the only, because you call the cops, they'll be here a half an hour after I'm dead.
Yeah, but they're right.
And there's always the looming zombie apocalypse to consider as well.
Yes.
Germ warfare.
I believe we're all going through that at the minute.
Right.
I mean, I've had it here, Jim, where people have been a bit pissed because I've flown and they're perceived that I've overflown their property, where clearly I haven't. But you get the parallax effect, and they don't understand that if they're stood 200 meters over there and I'm over here, the drone's not where they think it is. People don't always get that. And I mean, here they just get to shout at you a bit. I get threatened a bit. I've had the lawyer threatened by, we're going to set the lawyer on you. And I'm just like, the worst thing I ever said to someone, I probably wouldn't do this in America though, I says, I'm really sorry. I don't know who you are. And while your mum told you were special, and, I'm sorry, but who are you and what do you want?
Sorry,
300 feet up high, I'm spying on you.
No,
you're not that important.
Guys, you guys need to resort to old World War II decoys. You just have one of those kites on a string, fly it, and everybody's looking at the kite with all the bright colors, and you fly your drone. Come on.
I get tangled in a string, Louis.
Yeah, you need a string. Come on, Bruce.
I've got a video up called, and it says, not suitable for children. These people spent a good 3 minutes outside on my front lawn, cursing at me, calling me a pervert, and I know you are. I know, public servant for 30 years, but I'm a pervert for flying a drone. It's insane here. The stigma is, the news has done a great job. Fake news is correct.
We have the same here, thanks to Gatwick being pushed as, bad. We had 3 days of that rammed down our throats. So every time now drones are mentioned, it's always Gatwick.
Ever find that Gatwick drone? No.
It never existed.
Come on, it's a state-of-the-art drone, invisible,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
anti-radiation.
drone.
Yes, exactly.
You guys just are too far away from the leading edge of technology.
Yeah, and those cameras, you know, those drones move far too fast, according to the police. Even with your camera, they can go, missed it.
Everybody thinks they're important. You know, you're 300 feet up, but I want to look at you. I'm spying on your daughter in the pool, that fat, ugly kid. Yeah.
Oh, now, how did you know?
I can see why people stand outside on the lawn and shout at them.
How did you know?
You're right. Cat's out of the bag.
Cats as well? Oh, my word. Yeah, it's... Well, Gatwick was mentioned again today, and if Richard Ryan's still listening, the other thing that was mentioned by the lawyers who were talking about things going through Parliament, before I forget, before we go, was they've moved a lot of the procedures behind whichever the curtain is, which means you're not allowed to FOIA it, no freedom of information requests against it. So that's always a worry. Every time conversations go behind that magic curtain, you know, the one that Oz comes out of, every time it goes behind that curtain, then you're in trouble, and that's happened. So, yeah, that's for Richard, who is still listening.
I need
so with that, you can't because they've well, unless you do want to find out why they deemed it necessary to do that and who said they should do that. But as Richard has said did he say in the comments here, or did he say somewhere else? It really is moving quickly through the system, unusually quickly. And that's a worry when there's something gets rushed through Parliament with no real scrutiny. But anyway, with that, gentlemen, dear viewers, don't forget, follow James Above and Beyond Drones. Look for his channel a little bit later on when they're going to be ranting about other things, similar to this rant, but in more of an American accent, I think. And we'll see you again next week, 2100 GMT. Look after yourselves, wear a mask, wash your hands, stay away from people. As I said before, we're all drone people. We have no friends, so that's fine. That's the easy part, the distancing. But look after yourselves. Be careful out there. It's dangerous in the world.
We're not even friends with each other.
No, exactly. Thanks very much, everyone. Take care, chaps. Bye-bye.